My name is Jim Shaw, and I'm with Land Information Services, and today I'm going to talk to you about our product, LandVantage. LandVantage is an enterprise land and workflow application. Obviously, it caters to the land department as well as the back office, land administration, lease records, division orders, owner relations, GIS, etc. So let's go ahead and dive right into the presentation. So today I'm going to give you an overview of what LandVantage does, the different business impacts that it's having on our clients, and towards the tail end, we're just going to do a high-level demonstration of the product. Our vision and mission really goes far beyond the simple statement up here at the top, but simply put, we aim to streamline data capture while simplifying information retrieval. There are so many applications out there that make it difficult to get information into and out of the system. It really should not be that hard. Our product development team is done. They're all in-house. They're within arm's reach and sitting across the table from some of the most well-respected individuals in land and land administration throughout the industry. So truly the software was made by land professionals for land professionals. It's a SaaS model, scalable from small to mid to majors, and we've got clients up and down the spectrum there in our portfolio. It can handle non-op only, mineral interest only, as well as your traditional E&P groups. So what makes LandVantage so special? How are we different? Why are we different? I'm going to dive into each of these points a little bit more here in just a minute, but at first glance, our workflows are second to none. The product supports our outsourcing business at LIS. We can deploy at a fraction of the time and cost compared to others, and we can integrate with any source system that you've got within your environment. So let's talk about some workflows. There's going to be a lot that comes on the screen here in just a minute. I'm not going to dive into each and every one of them individually, but suffice to say, from an end-to-end process standpoint for land and land administration, we can handle virtually everything that you've got, and land administration can do 100% of their work within one application. You no longer have to hop around to multiple workflow applications to get your job done throughout your day. You can live within LandVantage all day long. That could be insourcing a new deal that your broker is submitting through the application, and you're reviewing and approving that new deal for payment, all the way down to if you've got a well that's gone down or is being shut in, as so many are today in the current environment. We provide a collaboration space for land, operations, and lease records to not only be notified that that event occurred, but also give you the space to review the critical leases and provisions and collaborate together on what exactly needs to be done. You can route non-op AFEs for review and approval. If you've got an AI or machine learning technology that you subscribe to, we integrate with those products. We don't have that technology native within our system, but we do integrate with those products and provide a really great value proposition for our mutual clientele. We're dynamically creating your well DOI based on your leasehold. We've got a call center actually at our location where we're handling phone calls and emails and snail mail for owner relations on behalf of many of our clients. And we use LandVantage as the CRM platform to triage those inbound contacts, review them, delegate them, and respond back to the owner. You can initiate a title document and order that title document from your broker or title attorney directly within the system. If you operate wells and you've got partner reporting obligations, they're entitled to production reports, drilling reports, mud logs. You need to send those to those partners. We've got a way to do that in a portal for them to log into and pull those reports down. So what I'm describing here is really an entire land workspace. We're taking it a step further, many steps further beyond just a land records management system. This is an area for your entire team to collaborate and delegate tasks to each other. They no longer have to rely on submitting a request or a question through email or some type of chat application. You can do all of your work within LandVantage, and that provides transparency across your team and across the entire organization. Outsourcing. I mentioned that this product, LandVantage, supports our outsourcing business. So we've got over 50 people within our office that are land, lease records, division orders, and owner relations personnel that are working in the system each and every day. What this does is it provides a a good pool, a good community of super users that know the software inside and out. And those folks are sitting right next to our product development team. So that's promoting innovation within our product development, as well as truthfully delivering the most user-friendly and efficient program on the market. Deployment. I hear so often that either changing systems or implementing a new system takes too long and costs too much money. It should not be that way. The way that we've configured our system, it's very easy and streamlined to get information into the system and out of the system. Plus, we've got an entire database team of experts that have been working with extracts of every other land system on the market, because our clients go through acquisitions and they get outputs from those systems, and they have become experts in converting that data into our platform. This means you can be up and running in days or weeks. Certainly, if you're pre-asset and you're just recently funded, you can be up in the matter of a day or two. If you've got legacy assets or you're going through an acquisition, we can convert that information and have you up and running within a few weeks or a few months' time. You should not settle for anything less. Integrations. So we obviously cater to the land and land administration group. We don't do accounting. We don't do downhole well master data management native within our system. But any system that you've got, we've integrated with virtually every accounting product on the market. Well master data management, reservoir engineering programs. So whatever source system you have in your environment, it's very likely that we've already integrated with it. And we've got APIs or other various methods to push and pull information. So let's talk about how this is impacting our clients and their business. There's obvious increased efficiencies within our platform with the A&D activity and just your typical day-to-day agreement and well maintenance. We continue to get testimonials from our clients that their staff are working at least 5 to 10 times faster in our product than in their prior system or in any other system that they've worked with in their career. As a result, that's saving significant time and money on personnel overhead. You're reducing their service times. You're eliminating duplication and offline record keeping. It's so often, and it's a typical theme, that we hear that the land department, the landmen, do not get into the lease record system or the land system very often because it's either too complex, they don't want to, it's frustrating to deal with. But quite frankly, we've got landmen, land managers, VPs of land that are in our system every single day, running their own reports, using the system on a daily basis, and that's the way that it should be. You're also mitigating risk. There are various business process automations throughout our system, which will give you instant notifications and alerts as soon as an event happens. That could be a payment obligation. It could be an expiration, a lease that's coming up for expiration. It could be a well that's gone down, like we talked about earlier. The system will automatically notify you that these events have occurred and then give you a collaboration space so you and your team can identify what action needs to be taken. Access to data and accurate reporting is so critical, especially right now. And LandVantage provides you the ability to have real-time access to your data and report on it in any way that you need to. This gives you transparency throughout your organization. It promotes collaboration, gives you better informed business decisions. And at the end of the day, it's often challenging to report up through the chain of command to your mid-level or senior level executives, because so often they've maybe had 2 or 3 or 4 versions of the truth, and their confidence level has deteriorated in the data and the staff that are providing that data. Well, with LandVantage and the controls that we have in place within our system and the ease of use, your data quality is going to be drastically improved. Reporting to management is more streamlined, and as a result, you're increasing the confidence there from the management team down. And finally, I firmly believe we have industry-leading help desk response times. We are responding within minutes, and we're resolving typically same day. I'm very, very proud of our support team, our help desk team. Every ticket that comes through the door is also monitored by our executive team, so there's a huge level of knowledge base that's there to support that group and to support our customers. If you were to contact any of our current clientele for references, I think you would hear that our service levels and our approach to service and customer service is second to none. We're very, very proud of the way that we serve our customers. So very briefly, just to provide a quick recap, LIS and LandVantage provide instant infrastructure with people, process, and technology. You should be combating and fighting against mediocrity. Your software and service providers should not make your life harder. If they are providing a service that you're paying for that you're not getting the right return on investment, there's something wrong with that equation. You should hold them to a higher standard. And with LandVantage, you can do just that. And you should embrace change. We're going through such a radical shift in our industry right now. Now is the time to find new ways to be doing things, find ways to improve your process, improve your technology, and the way that you manage your business. And I think that we're going to see a much different landscape in terms of how we do our business here in the next few months and years than what we've been used to. And I think LandVantage can be a very good foundation for you to build that future on. So let's go ahead and jump into a brief product overview demonstration so you can see what the system looks like. So right here, what you're looking at is the dashboard. This is the landing page as soon as you log into the system. You can post announcements here, like a team site. Shout out to the digital Wildcatters here on our announcements page. You can post documents like procedural documents, quarterly acreage reports, what have you. You get a real-time record count of all of the active records in the system, plus activity bars on activity levels within those modules over the last few days. And then the differentiator that I've been talking about is the workflows. So these are pending requests or tasks that are specifically delegated to me that are pending my review and approval. That could be a well that's gone down, could be a BA edit that needs to be accomplished within the accounting system, could be a new deal coming through for an approval, or maybe the monthly payment approval process or expiration process. So on the left-hand side, we've got our agreements module, which holds all of the leases and contracts and deeds, units, wells, owners, which are coming in from the accounting system, requests, which is the underlying workflow component to the entire system, documents. So this is a document management system as well. The mapping component, every land system should have a GIS component to it as well. And then our help module, which is our FAQs and knowledge base for our customers. So let's go into the agreement search page. So what you're seeing up at the top are some fields that I've labeled as favorites that I search on all the time. I can search on up to 15 favorites up there at the top. But if I need to expand my search and filter criteria, I've got a variety of header level attributes, tracks down below being map references, etc. Maybe provisions or cross references as well. So if I were to apply just a basic section township range search here, I'm going to see my results down below shift very quickly, and I've got 20 agreements within that section totaling up to 340 company net acres. That could be the only answer that I needed. Maybe I want to know how many of those agreements have an option to extend or consent to assign flagged as yes, they do apply within those leases. And again, I get a list of 4 agreements that have those provisions flagged. Maybe I want to know what leases are tied to a particular well. I can do a partial name or number search, select that well, and again get a list of agreements that are tied to that well. At any point in time, the system is going to identify recent searches that I've run, and I can easily tag those as favorites and refer back to them at a later date. So I'm going to go back to the favorite here where I had saved that section township range search, and I'm going to open up a particular lease so we can look at that a little more closely. So this is our lease agreement page. Got header information up here at the top. Importantly, and a very nice feature also up here at the top are the list of requests that have been processed on this particular agreement. So right now it's sitting in an agreement approval process, and it's currently sitting with Casey Moore. And then it's going to advance to ready to approve and approved. We can see though that it was initiated as a lead approval. So it went through a whole lead process and traditionally would go through a broker or what have you, and moved in-house for review and approval. So you can see the history here of who actually advanced it past each stage, and the system checks that occurred along the way. I can see some comments that were applied throughout that process as well. So it's nice to be able to see all of the activity that had occurred on this particular agreement over time. I can see the delegates. I can follow this request. So any other change that occurs within this process, I'm going to be notified about. The notifications up at the top here are going to show me, some real-time alerts as records that I'm following or processes that I'm delegated an action to occur. I'm going to see that information here. We've got a nice overview of recent activity on this agreement as well. So a nice audit trail to show before and after within that particular agreement and the changes made and who made them. We've got acres here at the header that are rolling up from all the tracks down below. I'm now editing this agreement, but I can also see that somebody else in the system, Bob Vance, is viewing this agreement. He can no longer try to edit this agreement though, since I'm in edit mode. But it's nice to see that Bob is somehow interested in this agreement, just like I am. Down below, the tracks appear collapsed at first. I can unfold those and see the additional information behind that tract, what unit it belongs to, the status that tract is in, obviously the map references, any kind of splits and depth ownership. So you can load geological basins with formations and geological time and simply select on or off the formations that apply or don't apply. It's that simple. You've got your acreage here, calculations coming from your tract DOI. So very simple and intuitive layout. Provisions. A lot of systems will require you to input a provision and then a general obligation and a payment obligation in 3 different parts of the system, 3 different screens. For us, it's consolidated all into one view, promotes efficiency, reduces that level of redundancy and possible oversight if somebody forgets to input something in all 3 places. So down below, we're seeing the level of detail that we're capturing on each and every provision. This is a payment obligation with the call dates and payment amount, the comments or remarks behind that provision, and then the payee or payees for that particular payment obligation sit directly underneath. I can see the payment history as well that's coming back from the accounting system. And there's shortcuts throughout the system to copy provisions, copy leases, copy tracks. Cross-references. So, your traditional lease to contract, lease to well cross-references, you can cross-reference anything to anything in the system. I can easily jump to those related records and it's going to give me another browser window. So I can easily reference what I needed to on that related well or contract, close out and be right back to where I was before. Related parties, this is kind of like a more names or chain of title, date and doc sandbox. So you can capture your current previous mineral owner, NPRI, non-executive mineral owner, etc. Capture their name and information, the document that you're cataloging here, maybe the book and page off of that. Your basic dates behind each of those agreements. Images. So we've got drag and drop mass upload capability with the images here. And these are images specifically tied to this agreement. I can also see images that are related to the cross-referenced agreements, be it wells or contracts or what have you. And then comments that you can apply and associate to a tract if you want to. So since we've touched on a lease agreement and we've talked about provisions and the payment obligations, let's transition into an e-calendar request. So often we hear about companies that are still routing payment obligations and expirations through physical printouts down the hall, into the different offices. This is all online. It's all automated. You've got the system will automatically create payment obligation, general obligation, and expiration calendars each month and initiate a workflow that you define. Whatever levels and handoffs you want to dictate through that process, you're able to configure in the system. So these payment obligations are organized by unit, so it expedites the review of your landman and lease analyst. I can unfold these and see some additional detail behind that payment obligation. So at the top, we've got our overall status of this month-wide payment approval process. At what stage is that in and who is currently involved. And then down below, each and every payment obligation has its own process attached to it as well, and can hand off, to different people along the way. And you've obviously got the audit trail of who approved and when, and what answer did they deliver. I can easily unfold and see additional information behind this agreement, header and tracked information, cross-references, the payees. So I don't have to toggle back and forth between modules in the system. I'm easily referencing some critical information here throughout the process. So before this case or this request can be fully completed, every single obligation throughout this month needs to complete its own individual process and receive approval for payment or don't pay or what have you. Once that's done, you're going to have some key-wide, month-wide decision makers up at the top that are going to provide their month-wide approvals. Once that's complete, this will actually establish a communication with your accounting system to initiate the check request process within AP, so that entire process is streamlined and electronic, no more physically handing off check requests. Okay, let's transition into a well record. So this is our well record. A lot of the information that you're seeing up here at the top, well header related, again, can be integrated from a variety of source systems that you already have internally within your environment. Could be a well master data management program or production accounting or what have you. Maybe it's third-party data if it's a bunch of non-op wells or you're a mineral buyer. This can be sourced from a third-party vendor data or public source data. So you don't have to replicate or duplicate all of this information within LandVantage. It can be integrated elsewhere. Name, operator, well type, wellbore type, obviously the current operational status from proposed and drilling or prospective from the pre-drill standpoint all the way through P&A or sold. But land has its own substatus, which is often nice for them to be able to catalog, exactly where they're at in their process. Have they completed the elections? Are they waiting to elect on a non-op well? Did they go non-consent, or is it a confidential or data trade type scenario? This helps give them a separate attribute to filter on that's separate and apart from the actual operational status. Lat longs and other location data, vertical and measured depths, of course, insurance and marketing elections for non-op wells, gas and oil purchasers, your corporate level interests that are rolling up here at the top. We'll get into that a little bit more here in just a minute. Wells have tracks just like agreements do. And something that sets us apart is we're capturing that allocation percentage. So if you've got cross-section or cross-unit wells, you can indicate the allocation percentage coming from each tract, which then plays a role in the interest computations that we'll get into here in just a moment. The event lifecycle dates down here, these also could include certain workflow dates, like the date that you sent or received the division order, the date that payout occurred, the date that revenue was received. So far beyond just the well lifecycle event dates. The DOI, so down here at the bottom, we're going to see that the system is automatically computing your working net revenue, override, and royalty interest for each lease tract that's tied to this well. That considers, the acreage and royalty rate and all the attributes from the lease record, in addition to the spacing acres for the well, any kind of allocation factors that need to be applied, and producing a very accurate representation of what your company's working and net revenue interest is within this well. Summarizing it here by entity, because we all know that we probably have more than one entity owning record title potentially in that well. And this gives land an opportunity to push these interests up to the top, and this becomes their reportable DOI, or their preliminary recap, if you will. Gives them a nice launching point for establishing that preliminary DOI within the accounting system. So they can easily communicate this preliminary DOI to division orders or accounting to set up within the accounting system. And gives you opportunity over time to integrate the current active DOI from the accounting system, so you can compare and contrast what does the accounting system currently say, what did land say that we owned in the preliminary stage, and what do my leases currently show that we own. So as you're evaluating, for PUDs or any other type of activity, you've got a good comparative analysis opportunity within the system to pinpoint any kind of variances that could come through. Partner reporting, we call the exchange portal. So if you've got partners in an operated well that are entitled to production reports, mud logs, drilling information, you can indicate those partners here, flag the documents that they're entitled to, and then we've got a separate exchange portal that bolts onto this that they're able to log into and very quickly pull those documents down once they've been authorized. The accounting DOI tab here is a reflection of the accounting system. So we're not, requiring the landman to constantly, make requests from division orders or accounting to get exports from the accounting system so they can see the full JIB and revenue DOI. It's integrated for them here, and they have immediate access to it. They can export it to Excel for other evaluation or reviews. Again, the goal of LandVantage is to provide that end-to-end workspace for the land group to do 100% of their day-to-day business while collecting data and information from other source systems and presenting it here for them to achieve just that. Maybe this is a non-op well and you're needing to route that incoming proposal and AFE for review and approval. You can initiate the well record. You can initiate the AFE here, capture some high-level information like the governing contract, any kind of regulatory dates, your drilling completion costs, etc. Your share and exposure is coming from the preliminary interest that land established just a minute ago. And then you kick off a request or a process with the rest of the team, land, operations, geology, engineering. They will all have access to this process and be able to weigh in and provide their recommendation of, participate, non-consent, or what have you. And you're able to document that collaboration and those decisions along the way. And then images and comments are fairly similar to the agreements module as well. Since we're talking about wells, we've talked about the down well process a little bit. Let me show you what that looks like. So when you have a well, and especially in today's environment and economy, if wells are being shut in, there's potential risk and a downstream effect there on your leases. So you set a threshold, maybe it's 30 consecutive days, maybe it's something different. But if a well goes so long with no daily volumes, the system will automatically register that. It will create this request and it will collect all of the critical information that land, operations, and lease records needs to make a very quick and informed business decision. So down below, we can see that somebody had initiated for operations to conduct some type of operations on the well to perpetuate it. That was canceled out, and instead, shut-in payments were initiated, and lease records went through that process and completed those shut-in payments, and they're going to provide some additional edits on the lease record as well to indicate that occurred. So it's a very streamlined process. Many of our customers are taking advantage of this process in our system, especially today, and it's proven to create a lot of value for them. They're able to manage these at-risk wells and at-risk leases much easier, more efficiently, and effectively with this process in place. The typical overhead administrative burden to collect all of the wells and leases and the critical information when a well goes down is typically quite a bit, but this extremely streamlines that process. So that's the very brief overview and background of LandVantage and how we're creating significant value for our clients and in the industry. Thank you all so much for your time today. There's going to be a link to our website here on the Digital Wildcatters page, on the Bullpen page. Please click our site, learn more about us. You can schedule a demo, contact us. Would love to talk to you and explain a little bit more about what we do. Thank you so much for your time.